Now we are on the last part of our discussion regarding VAT. So this one is about registration update. Kailan ba tayo kailangan mag-update? Kailan ba tayo kailangan mag-file ng S1905? Okay. We will also be discussing the rules regarding application for refunds, the period, prescriptive period to file the refund. Okay, what are the remedies? When can the BIR issue the money? Okay, and of course, is the administrative requirements. What are the things that you need to know about filing of VAT returns and all other submissions, no? So, ayan. Let's begin. Now, let's talk about registration updates. Bakit kailangan natin i-update ang ating registration? Kasi merong nangyari. Example na nangyari, okay, there is a need to cancel our registration. Why? We are a VAT registered taxpayer. When can we cancel our registration? Aba, tignan mo to. Oh, VAT registered tayo, di naman tayo lumalampas sa 3 million. Anong pwedeng gawin? We can revert back to our non-VAT status, meaning subject to 3% percentage tax. Pwede yun, di ba? Ito yung pwedeng bumalik. Okay, what happened? Why do we need to cancel our registration? Because there is a cessation or termination of business. Closure. Okay, there is a change of ownership from single proprietorship to partnership or corporation or OPC. The partnership is dissolved or the corporation, merger consolidation, yung isa na dissolved na, absorbed by the surviving entity. And a person who was registered prior to bland business commencement pero hindi siya nakapagsimula. Meaning, upon registration, VAT siya, tapos hindi mo pala siya nakapagsimula. Di pwedeng i-cancel ang registration niya. Okay? So now, let's look at some of the important things that you need to remember. Okay, you need to prove to the satisfaction of the commissioner that your gross sales will not exceed the threshold. Hindi pala ganun kasimpleng bumaba. Kailangan you have to prove. Okay, example, pwede mo sabihin kay BIR, nagsara ako ng mga branches. Okay, so parang ganon siya. Tapos number 2, the taxpayer does not expect to recommence any trade or business within the 12-month period. Nagsara ka. So kaya mo kina-cancel ang registration because you're closing. Pero if there's an expectation that you will recommence within a 12-month period, hindi ka pwedeng mag-close. Okay? Tapos number 3, cancellation of registration will be effective from the first day of the following month, which means today is April. If you are going to cancel your registration today, effective non-VAT tayo, May 1. Parang ganun siya. Okay? Now, what are those transactions that are subject to VAT or output tax? Tignan natin. Number 1, the VAT shall apply to goods or properties originally intended for sale. Goods or properties. So ito yung mga PPE din natin. Originally intended for sale or used in business and capital goods which are existing as of the occurrence of the following. Change of VAT activity from VAT to non-VAT. VAT to non-VAT. Anong tawag natin dito? Bumalik tayo to VAT exempt status, meaning subject tayo sa 3% percentage tax. Okay? Anong tawag natin dyan? Dim sale. Dim sale. Di ba? Pag non-VAT to VAT, transitional input tax tayo. From VAT, pababa ng non-VAT, dim sale ang ating mga goods or properties. Number 2, approval of a request for cancellation of registration due to reversion of to exempt status. Dati tayong VAT ang registration natin kasi ang ginagawa natin ay nagbebenta tayo ng regular goods and or services. Tapos ngayon, magtitinda na lang tayo ng bigas. Due to reversion to exempt status. Agricultural na lang. Di VAT exempt tayo. Pwede tayo mag-non-VAT. Number 3, approval of request for cancellation due to the desire to revert to VAT exempt status after the lapse of the 3-year period. Ito yung optional registrant na matikas ang ulo, meaning hindi naman siya required mag-register as VAT, but he registered as VAT. So, there is a lock-in period, irrevocable yan for the next 3 years. And on the 4th year, pwede na siyang bumalik to non-VAT. So, kapag bumalik sa non-VAT, deem sale din yung kanyang mga inventories and properties. Tapos ito naman, approval of a request for cancellation of registration of one who commenced business. Nag-start siya. Akala niya lalampas ng 3 million. Filingero, ito yung mandatory. Pero who failed to exceed this amount during the first 12 months of operation. So mandatory registration, siya si Filingero, hindi lumampas, feeling lang kasi niya. So ngayon pwedeng bumaba sa non-VAT. Yung kanyang goods and or properties, deemed sale din yan. Okay, number 5, the exchange of goods or properties, including real estate properties used in business or held for sale or for lease by the transferor for shares of stocks, whether resulting in corporate control or not is subject to VAT. Aba, eto, i-note natin to. Kasi ito yung nakalagay sa VAT rule natin. Pero kapag tax-free exchange, okay, kapag tax-free exchange yan, anong meron? VAT exempt yung transaction. Okay, ini-explain natin yan ha, kasi this one can be seen in the existing revenue regulations, pero there is an implied repeal by virtue of the uh, train law in relation to tax-free exchange. 2018 pa ito. Okay? O create law, 2021. No? Basta, hindi na yan ano. VAT exempt ito. Okay, ito naman, not subject to output tax. Alin? The VAT shall not apply to goods or properties which are intended for sale or use in the ordinary course of trade or business. So we're talking about ordinary asset. Okay, bakit? Meron lang change of control. So, halimbawa, ABC Corporation, merong XYZ na shareholder. Tapos naging DEF Corporation lang yan. Aba, change of control only. Aba, hindi naman vatable yung mga existing inventories. Bakit? Walang cessation of business yan. Number 2, nagpalit ng pangalan from ABC to XYZ. Aba, there's no sale or exchange or barter in that particular instance. Number 3, na-absorb yung isang company. So ngayon, mga kapatid, natural, yung absorbed company dissolve. Pero yung existing, yung kanyang mga assets, hindi naman yan vatable na. Okay? Now, let's go to this illustration. No? Titignan mo lang yung kwento. Si Nicanor may negosyo, nag-register as VAT. Due to pandemic, no? Nagkaroon ng financial difficulty, nagsara. Aba, as closure to o cessation. Ikaw daw yung in-engage take care of the business. Tapos titignan mo yung biglang nagbigay ng books of accounts, tapos tatanungin ka ng output tax. Anong tawag dyan? Deem sale. So anong titignan mo? Eh yung mga inventories and assets. So the merchandise inventory of 1.2 million, the PPE, okay, yung total niyan, yun, times 12%, deem sale ito. Deem sale transaction yan. Itignan mo lang yung story, hindi ka mawawala. Tinatanong tayo ng output tax. Output tax lang tinatanong, pwede sagutin natin. Ngayon, pag tinanong tayo, net VAT payable. Net VAT payable. Anong gagawin mo? Yung creditable input tax box mo. Kung meron man binigay sa information. Okay, kung wala, ito lang yung sinabi, minus mo yung input tax niyan kung merong input tax yung lahat ng yan. Diba? Now, transition from VAT to non-VAT. So, tandaan mo, kapag non-VAT to VAT, transitional input tax. Ito, bababa sa non-VAT. Okay? So, paulit-ulit lang tayo under this RMC, no? Yung mga intended for sale or assets for use, no? Are subject to VAT. Tapos, taxpayers are required to file quarterly VAT return covering the period kung kailan ka bumaba sa non-VAT natural. Magpa-file ka pa rin ng return at magbabayad ng tax kung meron man. Now, let's go to another illustration. Nicanor registered as a non-VAT. By November of the same year, he was constrained to update his registration since he exceeded the VAT threshold. Okay, ano mangyayari? November nangyari to. Magiging VAT lang ang registration niya effective by December 1. In 2025, he did not breach, okay, the 3 million barrier. He exceeded the VAT threshold. due to a one-time big time. Sorry, this is wrong. Nag-breach pala siya sa 3 million threshold. So, ang registration niya is what? Mandatory. Kasi lumampas siya eh. In 2026, he decided to change his registration to non-VAT. Of course, you don't argue with facts. So, parang lumalabas dito, sinabi ng facts na bababa siya sa non-VAT kasi hindi siya lumampas or hindi siya lalampas. So, pinakita ngayon ng books of accounts. Anong meron? O, tatandaan mo, from VAT to non-VAT, deemed sale din yan. Okay, ang tanong, how much is the output tax from transition to from VAT to non-VAT? Assume all assets were acquired from VAT registered seller. Anong gagawin natin? Eh di ganun din, yung merchandise inventory, yung office supplies, yung PPE, isama mo din yan. Yung lahat ng to, total team sale yan. I-multiply mo na 12%, this is the output tax. Bakit mga deemed sale ang lahat ng mga ordinary assets? Okay? Bakit nga tinitim sale? Very simple lang. Kasi nung binili ito, there's a presumption that input tax has been paid for that. So kung output tax, input tax, okay, kung meron siyang input, halimbawa 100,000 yung input. Oh, kapag wala 'yon, wala tayong deemed sale, magre-refund pa si taxpayer. Ang gobyerno pa yung may utang. Pero kung yan ay merong output, deemed sale, meron siyang input, di wala, mawawalang refund. Okay, so yan ang concept ng deemed sale. Now, let's go to refunds. Brothers and sisters, just like in income tax, there's a prescriptive period to claim for a refund. The prescriptive period would depend on the type of refund. Okay, so meron tayong tatlong types of refund. No? The source can be from input tax on zero-rated sale. Okay, ang input tax sa zero-rated sale, ang input tax, tatlo ang pwede natin gawin. Refund, apply ng tax credit certificate, o kaya carry over as credit against output tax. Yan ang rule. Pero ang pag-uusapan natin dito yung refund. Okay, kapag zero-rated sale, ang reckoning ng 2-year period, same lang sa income tax, 2 years din. Pero yung reckoning period would be different. It is from the close of the taxable quarter of zero-rating sale. Tandaan mo ha, yung close ng quarter. So, yung last day ng quarter yan. 2 plus 2 years tayo. Okay? When you apply for a VAT refund emanating from zero-rated sales, now we're talking about input tax, the BIR has 90 days to approve the ordinary refund. And the 90-day period shall commence from the acceptance of the processing office of the application with complete documentary evidence. Itong naka-all caps na to, dinagdag yan, in-insert kasi dati 90 days from the submission of the complete documentary requirements. Yun yun. Pero ngayon, acceptance na. So, ibig sabihin, hindi tatanggapin kasi ni BIR yan pag kulang ang requirement mo. Now, what if our application has been denied or it was not acted upon? Ang tawag doon, inaction. Ito yung bagong-bago under create more. Okay? You can now file a request for reconsideration with the commissioner within 15 days from the date of full or partial denial. Bago ito. Bago ito. So kay commissioner, kung large taxpayer yan, regional director naman kung ito ay regional office. Okay, if you fail to apply for the remedy of administrative remedy na bagong-bago ito, no? The decision shall be considered as final already. Kaya kailangan nating mag-apply, file ng request for recon kapag na-deny ang ating application. Okay? Before kasi nung walang administrative appeal, diretso na tayo sa CTA. Pero ngayon, because of Create More, kapag zero-rated sale, merong remedy of administrative appeal. Now, let's go to the second one, another source of refund. Bakit ka nag-refund? Kasi sarado ka na. Meron kang overpayment, excess. Ito, yung input mo at mas malaki sa output nung prior period. Ang ginawa mo, kine-carry over mo. Ngayon, magsasara ka na, anin mo pa yung carry over. Kaya pwede mong i-refund yan. When is the 2-year period to refund? No? From the date of issuance of tax clearance, grabe, napakabigat nito sa tunay na buhay. Kasi it's difficult to get a tax clearance from the BIR, especially if it's computer generated. This is not the same as tax delinquency verification report by the BIR. Kung nasa practice ka, alam mo yan. Hindi yan equivalent. Ito yung computer generated. So the reckoning again is 2 years from the date of issuance of the computerized generated tax clearance. Now, the BIR has within 2 years from the date of submission to actually refund you the money. Ito yung sinasabi ko kay BIR. Bakit kailangan pang iba-iba yung period? Ba't kailangan iba-iba pa yung reckoning period, 'di ba? 'Di ba pwedeng pare-parehas lang? But anyway, ito naintindihan ko 'to. Kasi ito sarado ka na eh. Okay? Pero dito tignan mo, sarado ka na, 2 taon pa bago bigay ang pera. Eto 90 days lang. Sir, bakit mabilis 'to? Kasi sa train law merong nilagay doon na yung 5% 'no, of the total amount collected by the BIR on VAT will be set aside for VAT refund. Kaya yan nilagay yan diyan. Okay, but anyway, ito 2 years. 'Pag sarado na mas matagal pa yung ano, mas kailangan na ng taxpayer yan eh. Anyway, kapag dininay yung application natin, diretsong Court of Tax Appeals tayo. Division muna siyempre. Hierarchy of courts. Ito naman, why are you applying for a VAT refund? Aba, nagkamali kasi. Erroneous payment, you're not supposed to pay, but you paid. So therefore, if you have basis, you can apply for refund. Or there's an illegal collection, no? The BIR. Basically, is intimidating you, bayaran mo yung VAT na to, so tinatakot ka, ikaw naman nagbayad. Even if there's no authority, okay, so you can apply for refund. Now, you also have 2 years, but it is reckoned from the date of payment, from the date of payment. So zero rating, close of the quarter, closure, issuance of the tax clearance, erroneous payment from the date of payment. Okay, ang zero rate 90, ang closure 2 years, 180 days naman ang erroneous payment from the date of submission of complete documents. Dati, pare-parehas tong tatlo. Pero ngayon, dinagdag ito dito. Yan ang pagkakaiba. Now, what is the remedy of the taxpayer in case of denial? No, anong gagawin mo? Diretso na kagad sa CTA division. Walang administrative appeal sa dalawa. Sir, bakit? Hindi ko alam. Iniwan yan sa create for. Sana sabi ko nga, uniform na lang. Kaso wala, hindi. Now, let's go to these questions, no? Determine the deadline of the VAT return filing. Dapat alam mo yung deadline niyan. And the application for refund, 2 years tayo. Okay? So, tignan muna natin to. Zero rated sale. Aba, kapag zero rated sale, last day of the quarter. Tignan muna natin to. February 10, 2022. Ang quarter niyan, first quarter. So, deadline of the VAT return, first quarter, 25th day after the close of the quarter. So, natapos January, February, March. April to, 25. Easy. So, ngayon, final ang return, April 20. Aba, maaga. Very good. Until when can the BIR apply for a refund on input tax from zero-rated sale? Aba, 2 years from the close of the quarter. So, ito first quarter, March 31, 2022. So, hanggang March 31, 2024. So kung ngayon ka magpa-file, April 2026, prescribed na yan. Ibig sabihin, hindi i-deny ni BIR ang application mo for being filed out of time. Hindi na pwedeng i-refund yan unless magsasara ka. Okay? Ito naman, October 29, aba, fourth quarter to. So 25th day after the close of the quarter. Okay, so January 25 kasi October, November, December. So, the following month is January, 25th day. So, ito yung deadline ng filing ng return. Nag-file siya January 30, very bad. Late. Until when can the taxpayer apply for a refund? 2 years from the end of the quarter, December 31, 2022 yan. So, therefore, December 31, 2024, kung ngayong 2026 ka mag-a-apply, prescribed na yan. Hindi na yan a-actionan ng BIR. Well, a-actionan nila, i-deny nila. Ito na naman tayo. April 15, so second quarter na to. So ang second quarter natin, ang filing nan July 25. It's on the 25th day after the close of the quarter. Nag-file siya July 10. Very good, maaga. Kung magre-refund tayo, zero-rated sale, close of the quarter, ang close ng quarter nito, June 30, 2023, plus 2 years. So, June 30, 2025. Ganyan lang kasimple. Ito naman, June 25. Okay, third quarter ulit. So kung third quarter yan, second quarter, April, May, June. So July, 25th day after the close of the quarter, July yan. Nag-file siya August 8 ni, very bad, super late. Ang deadline, July 25. So anyway, until when can can the taxpayer apply? It's up on the last day of the quarter. So ito second quarter, June 30 ulit. Plus 2 years. June 30, 2025. So kung ngayon tayong 2026 mag-apply, again, denied yan, automatic. Bakit? Late ka eh. Ito closure. Kapag closure from the issuance of the tax clearance. Okay, dito tayo. Nagsara tayo January 31, 2023. Aba, first quarter yan eh. January. Di 25th day after the close of the quarter. So ngayon, nag-close tayo March 30. So April 25, 2023 ang deadline. Nag-file tayo mas maaga. Sarado na naman na tayo. Until when can we apply? Aba, walang date. Kasi nga, from the time of issuance to tax clearance. Same dito. November nagsara. O di fourth quarter yan. Di January 25, 2023 ang deadline. Okay? Nag-file tayo ng fourth quarter, December 5. Since November 1 pa lang tayo, sarado na eh. So hanggang kailan tayo mag-apply? Again, 2 years from the date of issuance of tax clearance. Dito, wala namang info. So, not available siya. Ito naman nagkamali, erroneous payment. Date of payment, March 22. Nagbayad tayo ng VAT. First quarter yan. So ang deadline yan, April 25. It's on the 25th day after the close of the quarter. Nag-file siya, buzzer beater. Until when can the taxpayer apply for refund? 2 years dito. So March 22, 2025. Ito naman, July 15, 2023. So third quarter na yan. So July, August, September, 25th day after the close of the quarter, October 25. Nag-file maaga, October 22. So, kailan ang deadline ng 2-year period? Aba, from the date of payment tayo. So, July 15, 2025. So, kung ngayon mo i-apply for refund ang erroneous payment of the tax, aba, wala na, matidinay yan. Okay? Now, what are the things that we need to remember, no? Time frame for the BIR to process the VAT refund, 90 days again. Tapos, dati, submission of complete documents, binanggit na natin yan. It is the taxpayer who determines when the documents are complete for the purpose of commencing the 90-day period. Si taxpayer daw. Hindi si BIR ha, kasi si BIR dati yan eh. Now, dati, 120 days lang ang refund. Because of train law, naging 90 days yan. Now, remedies, if denied, no, pwedeng umapila sa CTA. Pero ngayon, because of Create More, pwede muna tayong mag-apply ng request for reconsideration, request for recon, tandaan nyo ha, with the Commissioner of Internal Revenue bago umakyat sa CTA. Ito yun, no? Yung summary natin kanina. Here. Bago ito. Bago yan. Kaya kapag zero-rated sale, pwede tayong bago magpunta sa CTA, mag-apply muna kay Commissioner. Okay? Now, if the Commissioner denied our application, natural, CTA tayo. Okay? In case of inaction, hindi inaksyonan. 90-day period, no? Hindi binigay sa atin yung cheque. At if we have 30 days to go to the Court of Tax Appeals. Mga kapatid, ang BIR, naglagay sila ng classification according to risk ng mga application for refunds. No? So, merong mga low risk, medium risk, at saka high risk. So, the basis of the classification would be the amount of refund. Example, 100 million yan. Aba, high risk yan. 10,000 lang, low risk yan. Tax compliance history. No? Dati ka na bang nag-a-apply at nade-deny? High risk ka. Okay, first time mo ba? Malamang high risk ka kasi bakit? Maraming mali yan sigurado. Tapos frequency of filing of VAT refund. Sanay ka na. Low risk yan. Pero pag pang-apat na, high risk na. Nasa Revenue Memorandum Order yan. And of course, other factors may come into play also. Okay, kapag medium and high risk claims, subject to audit yan or other verification process in accordance with the program of the BIR. Okay? So where do we apply for refund? Aba, depende. Kapag direct exporter ka, ibig sabihin, ano nga yung direct exporter sa zero rating natin, sa zero rate natin? Ikaw ang nag-manufacture, directly nagpalabas ng produkto. Ikaw ang nag-provide ng service directly to a non-resident, direct exporter. Sa VCAD ka pupunta sa National Office, VAT Credit Audit Division. Kapag yan ay other than direct exporter, ibig sabihin, hindi direct export to. Indirect. No? Kapag indirect yan, you can go to the large taxpayer service if you are an LT taxpayer, or to the RDO if you belong to the RDO, your head office, of course. If this is about closure, same. You are under LTS, and you register, you apply for refund at LTS. If you are under the jurisdiction of the RDO, you go to the RDO. Ganun lang kasimple. Ito lang ang naiba, yung direct export, VCAD ang punta. Now, there is under our MO 7/20/20, no, yung mga thresholds, kung sino ba yung approving official. So, tignan mo, ang RDO, regardless of amount yan, pero kapag sobrang laki na, tingnan mo ha, more than 150 million, si Commissioner ang mag-a-approve. 50 to 150, DepCom. Not more than 50 as year of the assessment service. So we're talking about VCAD, direct exporter lang to. Okay? So, ayan. Ito yung VAT refund center, no? Tapos ito yung binabanggit natin kanina, kaya malakas ang loob ni BIR mag-refund within the 90-day period on input tax on zero-rated sale. It's because there is an automatic appropriation of the 5%, no, total VAT collection made by the BIR and the BOC. So meron silang ready pera. Remedy in case of denial of refund. If refund is not proper, ito yung nakalagay sa ating rule. The commissioner must state the basis of their denial. Number 1, bakit you're not entitled? Number 2, incomplete documentary requirements. Diba? Parang ganyan yan. So kapag 90 days ang pinag-uusapan, zero-rated sale yan. In case of full or partial denial or inaction, hindi inactionan, no? The taxpayer may from the date of receipt or expiration of the 90-day period, pwede tayong magpunta sa Court of Tax Appeals. Okay? Ngayon, ang mga revenue officers who would be assigned to audit applications for refunds on zero-rated sale, kasi 90-day pinag-uusapan, are subject to sanction, administrative sanction, just in case they fail to act on the application. Okay, pangako yan ng BIR kasi sa mga negosyante, pag meron kang input tax on zero-rated sale, makakasiguro ka na within the 90-day period, you will get your check already. Okay? Now, what is the participation of the Commission on Audit regarding refund? Aba, mga kapatid, refund shall be made without the counter signature by the COA. Okay? Alangan namang, halimbawa, a taxpayer has applied for a refund. It was approved by the BIR. A check will be issued without the signature of the COA. Siyempre, magtatagal. Lalampas sa 90-day period. Pero, the application shall be subject to post-audit, meaning the COA will have the power to review, conduct post-audit verification following the risk-based classification kung low, medium, or high yan. Okay, papaano kung pinagbigyan si taxpayer ni BIR pero upon review by the COA, hindi siya karapat-dapat? Aba, the taxpayer shall be liable for the disallowed amount without prejudice, meaning the BIR can go after the BIR employee who granted the refund. Bigat, no? Bigat. Okay, now, what are the consequences of issuing erroneous VAT invoice? Okay, why is it erroneous in the first place? Let's go to number 1. You are a non-VAT taxpayer, meaning you can be subject to 3% percentage tax or you are subject to other percentage taxes because of your industry. And then, since non-VAT ka, dapat non-VAT yung invoice mo, pero nag-issue ka ng VAT invoice, hala, you are liable to the percentage tax. you are liable to the VAT and there's no benefit of input tax. Parusa sa'yo yan. And you will be subjected to 50% surcharge. Now, let me clarify this ha. Merong mga textbooks na ito lang ang merong 50%. Ito, walang 50% daw yan. Aba, mali. Parehas mali eh. Fraud yun eh. Okay, so therefore, both mag-a-apply ang 50% surcharge. Okay, bakit yung VAT lang? Dahil nandaya ka lang sa VAT. Eh, pandaraya din yung sa percentage tax mo eh. Hindi mo percentage tax ka, di ka nag-i-issue ka ng VAT invoice, di ba? Parehas may 50% falsity. Now, the input tax shall be recognized as credit to the taxpayer. Halimbawa, seller, non-VAT ito, issued a VAT invoice, and then the buyer paid for the input tax. Wala siyang kasalanan. Unless this one is a party to the transaction, meaning aware siya na peke yung invoice niya. Natural, di ka pwedeng mag-claim ng credit. Remember, if the 50% surcharge is imposed, meaning there's fraud, there's falsity, there is willful neglect, there's an underdeclaration by more than 30% of the sales. Okay, resulting to prima facie evidence of fraud. Aba, walang compromise penalty. Because compromise penalty basically is, in lieu of the criminal action. Okay? Ito naman, issuance of VAT invoice on an exempt transaction by a VAT registered taxpayer. Hala. If there is failure to display, halimbawa, no, seller of agricultural product tayo, kasi dapat ilalagay natin VAT exempt. Pero hindi natin nalagay ang salitang VAT exempt or we failed kasi yung mga invoice ngayon ganito. Merong nakalagay, vatable. Nakalagay zero rate. Nakalagay exempt. Merong corresponding information kung alin dyan yung sale. So halimbawa, VAT exempt, 100,000, ilalagay mo dyan sa VAT exempt. Madali ito. Papaano kung yung invoice mo walang nakalagay? So ikaw magsusulat, ilalagay mo VAT exempt. Or zero rate kung zero rate yan. Ano nangyari? Hindi mo na ilagay na VAT exempt or clearly provide the breakdown of the VAT exempt sale. Ano mangyayari? It will become taxable. And the issuer, meaning the seller, shall be liable for the VAT. Natural. Sir, kahit bigas pa po ito, na halimbawa 100,000, hindi na ilagay sa VAT, hindi na isulat yon vatable. Oo, subject ka sa 12%. Kaya kapag VAT exempt, isulat VAT exempt. Kapag zero rate, isulat zero rate. Pero kung merong ganitong breakdown, yung inyong invoice, mas maganda. Okay? Tandaan nyo ha, wala nang official receipts as a primary invoice ha. So, ang official receipt, ano na lang to, supplementary. Meron pa rin namang OR, pero hindi siya as principal invoice. Okay? Tinanggal na ang salitang prominently ha, in the EOPT kasi pag sinabing prominently, talagang kitang-kita, VAT exempt nilagay. Okay, so ngayon, kahit isulat mo lang sa gilid, VAT exempt, it will be sufficient. Now, let's go to the illustration. Non-VAT taxpayer to increase his income, he issues an authorized VAT invoice. Natural, unauthorized yan kasi non-VAT ka nga eh. Hindi ka pwede magkaroon ng VAT invoice kung non-VAT ka. And there is a fake ATP na tinatawag, Authority to Print Invoice, ATP ang tawag dyan. Now, total sales is 2 million. Compute the VAT a total amount due including increments. So, pag sinabing increments, charge interest or compromise. So, ang sales 2 million. Natural subject sa 12%, 3% na to, sorry. So, 60,000 yan. Okay. Tapos, meron pa tayong 50% surcharge, 30,000 yan. Meron tayong interest. And kapag na-impose ang 50%, walang compromise penalty. So, total amount of payable, 92,400. Okay, so paki-note na lang yung error dito. But again, this is the application of the rule. The 50% surcharge applies to both tax types. Okay? Now, the BIR, specifically the commissioner, has the power to suspend the business operations of a taxpayer. Ang tawag dito, suspension ng business operations, Oplan Candado. Okay, closure ito, isasara. Now, remember, the commissioner has the power to suspend or close. And the period is not less than 5 days. So, which means minimum of 5 days. Can it be 1 year? Yes. Bakit? Di ka nagbabayad ng tax eh. So, what are the specific violations which can warrant the closure of a company? Aba, hindi ka nag-issue ng invoice. Nagbebenta ka. Evasion yan. Hindi ka nagpa-file ng VAT returns. Aba, pang-offline kandado ka. Tapos nag-understate ka ng sales, 30%. Tapos hindi ka nag-register as VAT kasi mandatory ka na eh. Aba. So we're talking about registration. Ito 'yon, registration, invoicing, at saka filing. Okay, registration, invoicing, filing, at saka under declaration ng 30%, under 30%. Ng iyong sales. Aba, deadball ka. Pwede kang ipasara. So what are the related programs of suspension of business operations? Remember, when the BIR wants to close the business, it has to issue the necessary mission order and or LOA. Okay, in Oplan Candado, okay, can be done through stock taking. Kaya yung inventory list, napaka-importante natin yan. Dapat more or less accurate yan eh. Surveillance. Sa income tax, tinuro ko na to, yung covert, overt, at saka yung tax mapping, mga surveillance yan. Ito yan, tax mapping, no? Tax compliance verification drive. This is a form of surveillance also. Now, even if you will pay the deficiency taxes because of the mission order, the BIR can still close, no? Your company as a form of penalty, yung not less than 5 days to. Okay, another program related to closure is rate the run after tax evaders. Alam nyo, tinanong na to sa board exam eh. Ang tinanong, ang nakalagay lang, rate is, tapos choices na. Common sense naman, no? Ang nakalagay doon, tax evasion. Evasion. Hindi dapat common sense. TE. It's about tax evasion. Run after tax evasion yan. And the latest is RAFT, Run After Fake Transactions, no? Kay Commissioner Lumagi. This is about ghost receipts. Ito yung mga faking company established for the purpose of selling receipts. Okay? Kasi nagbebenta ito ng mga resibo, so may output yan, nagkakaroon ng input tax yung mga buyer. Meron silang purchases. Bandaraya sila parehas. Okay? Tapos sa mga non-resident digital service provider naman, kapag hindi sila nag-register, pwedeng i-ano nila, yung i-block nila yung digital service sa Pilipinas through the DICT and NTC kung sakasakali. Let's go to invoicing, brothers and sisters. Ang primary invoice na lang natin ngayon, VAT invoice kung VAT registered, non-VAT invoice kung non-VAT. Yan ay lang yan. Wala nang official receipt. And VAT is to be issued for every sale, barter exchange, regardless of amount. Etong non-VAT invoice naman, issued by non-VAT taxpayers, would depend on kung kailan mag-i-issue. Now, in EOPT, tinanggal ang official receipt as a principal or primary invoice. So ngayon, supplementary invoice na lang yan. So the examples of invoice, sales invoice, sale of goods yan, service invoice, sale of service, cash charge or, wala. Ayun. Cash charge, cash invoice ito, kung cash tayo or credit or charge, no, depende, or miscellaneous invoice. Basta may salitang invoice, okay yan. Okay, so what are the information contained in an invoice? Natural, nakalagay ang seller's registered name. Okay, so kung ito yung invoice, nasa taas yan, ABC Corp. Tapos VAT, nakalagay VAT in. 001, 002, 003, 0000, head office. Tapos nakalagay din yung address. Address nakalagay dyan. Address. So, ito yung ABC Corp. Okay? Kailangan merong nakalagay na invoice dyan. Invoice. Kailangan may series number, 00001. Oh, di ba? Tapos date of transaction, April, ano ba ngayon? April, tingnan mo natin yung date. April 11 tayo ngayon, 2026. Kailangan nakalagay yung quantity. So dito na nakalagay quantity. Ayan. Kailangan nakalagay costs. Okay, or price. Pwede rin yan, no? Tapos description. Description. Ilagay mo kung ano yan. Ito ba ay 1 kilo of rice, 1 kilo, 100 rice or palay or whatever, no? Kung sakasakali. Kung service naman yan, isang service yan, professional fee ang ilalagay mo doon. Magkano ba yung professional fee mo? 300,000 ba? Ilagay mo lang. Okay? In the case of sales, the amount of 1,000 or more, where the sale is made to a VAT registered. So, seller ka, VAT registered ka, ang buyer mo, VAT registered din. Isulat mo ang registered name. So, ito yung buyer or customer. Okay, ilagay mo yung customer. Ilagay mo dyan yung pangalan niya. Yung registered name, halimbawa, Big Boss. Okay, so anong meron dyan? Ito yung pangalan niya. Tapos, Vic Enterprises yan. So, registered name ang isusulat mo. Okay? Ilagay mo din yung address niya at saka yung PIN niya kapag 1,000 or more yan. Sir, paano pag hindi 1,000 yan? O hindi required ang mga yan, mga information. Pero ayaw mo ng problema, ilagay mo na lahat. Okay? Kailangan ang VAT is separately indicated. Ito yung binabanggit ko sa inyo parati. Nakalagay na sa rules natin, matagal na hindi pwedeng VAT inclusive. Kaya yung mga nasa problems, VAT inclusive, VAT exclusive, net of VAT, wala na dapat yan. Kasi nga, under the rules, the VAT should be separately indicated. Okay, ngayon, paano kapag VAT exempt yan? Kailangan maliwanag na VAT exempt. Kapag zero rate yan, maliwanag na zero rate yan. O paano kung hindi na nilagay? Ay, di magiging 12% VAT yan. Ito yung form over substance to eh. Kapag mixed yan, ilagay kung 12 or 0 o VAT exempt. Pwede namang hiwa-hiwala yung invoice dyan para maliwanag. Okay, tinanggal na yung prominent na word ha. Kapag senior naman ang buyer natin, PWD, athletes, solo parents, etc., the ID, the amount of discount, the signature is required to be obtained, including in online. Kapag online, signature is not required. Natural, paano pipirmahan yan? Kailangan yung invoice natin merong ATP, authority to print. Kailangan merong nakalagay kung kailan in-issue ang date ng ATP at yung permit number at saka serial number. Kaya nga ikaw, dapat alam mo to. Halimbawa, yan yung invoice. Makikita mo yung information nasa baba dito. BIR, ATP, nakalagay. Kung anong number yan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tapos nakalagay dito, booklet, number of booklets, series 00001 to 50,000. O, di ba? Parang ganyan lang yan. Yung date, etc. Kung POS yan, nakalagay yung identification number. Okay? Tsaka yung acknowledgement, basta acknowledgement yan, certificate. Okay? Or, yung permit to use kung sakasakali. Sa mga digital service provider na non-resident, lalong non-resident to ha, mga non-resident. Since sila ay merong invoice or OR and we don't know what kind of document they have, no? Importante lang, they are not required to comply with our invoicing requirements. It's important that the invoice that they issue or receipt that they issue contains date of transaction, transaction reference number, identification of cost consumer, description of the transaction, okay, example, subscription to Netflix, and the total amount, separately indicated. Kita mo yan, parating separately indicated. Kaya nga dapat, alam nyo, itigil na ng mga gumagawa ng exam, authors, etc., yung inclusive. Okay? Now, what if in the invoice we discussed the pertinent information contained in an invoice? What if there is an incomplete information? Si seller tatamad-tamad. Okay, hindi niya inisa-isa yung mga nakalagay doon, hindi sinulat yung pangalan mo, hindi rin sinulat ang TIN mo. Okay, hindi separate indicated yung VAT. Hala. Oh, sa issuer, anong pwedeng mangyari sa tatamad-tamad na issuer? Aba, if a VAT registered person issues a VAT invoice to another buyer who is also a VAT registered and there is a lack of information required, hindi nakalagay ang pangalan, more than 1,000 to ha, more than 1,000 ang sale. Hindi nakalagay yung pangalan ng buyer, walang TIN, walang address, the issuer shall be liable for non-compliance with the invoicing requirement. Imagine if the minimum penalty is 1,000 per offense. So every issued invoice, aba, sa isang booklet, 50 times 1,000, 50,000 ang pwede mong ma-penalty dahil lang kulang ang information. Kaya kapag ikaw ay accountant tapos meron kang kliyente, tingnan mo kagad ang invoicing nila, yan ang pinaka-critical. Ituro mo bakit hindi separate indicated? Ba't di nyo nalagay yung pangalan ng buyer dito, TIN at saka address niya? Bakit? Pwede ka ma-penalize 1,000. Sa papaano kung 100,000 ang ang invoice na na-issue? Di pwede kang ma-penalize 1,000 each kasi every issue once constitute an offense. Mabigat. Sir, papaano naman kung buyer ka? Aba, ito yung matindi. Allowed ka daw mag-claim ng input tax. Pero kapag ang information that is lacking, hindi nakalagay ang amount of sales. Ibig sabihin, walang figure. Nagbayad ka ng 10,000 pero wala nakalagay 10,000. Hindi nakalagay yung VAT. Hindi siya separately indicated. Patay. Hindi ka pwede mag-claim. Kasi if the information do not pertain, pwede kang mag-claim kung hindi pertaining to this. Pero kapag pertaining to this, you cannot claim. Hindi nakalagay yung amount, hindi ka pwede mag-claim. Hindi nakalagay separate in VAT, hindi ka pwede mag-claim ng input. Kasi the presumption is, hindi siya shinif ni buyer. Hindi nakalagay yung pangalan ng buyer. Yung invoice mo, sa seller ka, hindi nakalagay yung pangalan mo. Diba? Ito, renoving natin. Ayan, no? Ito, walang ABC Corp sa taas. Wala. Hindi nilagay ang description of goods and or services. Ito, nilagay natin to. Ayun, no? Di ba dapat nakalagay ang description? Pag hindi mo nilagay, talagang deadball ka, hindi ka pwede mag-claim ng input. Yung hindi nilagay ang date of transaction, kaya nga alam nyo, napaka-importante. Turuan natin ang mga nag-i-invoice natin, yung mga cashier. Kasi sa kanila, nagsisimula ang problema. Kaya ako, alam nyo, when I buy things, goods or service, and then an invoice is being issued, when I see that the VAT is not separately indicated, I talk to the cashier. Sometimes I talk to the waiter when I eat in a restaurant. Sabi ko, pwede ko ba makausap yung cashier o kaya yung manager nyo? Tinuturuan ko sila. Bakit? Importante, kawawa yung buyer. Hindi siya makakapag-claim ng input. Kawawa din yung issuer kasi pwede silang ma-penalize. Okay, kita nyo yan? Now, dito tayo, electronic invoicing, e-sales reporting. Okay, mga kapatid, ganito yan. Kasi meron ako nakitang mga materials related to EIS. Hindi nila maintindihan ang EIS. Okay, hindi ito yung typical na electronic invoicing what chuchu. Ito ay based on the Create Law. Anong meron sa Create Law? Okay, eto muna yan, no? Ito ang originally covered by the Rule on EIS, Electronic Invoicing System. Okay, parang ganito yan. Exporter ka or engage ka in e-commerce or LTS ka. Dito muna tayo sa exporter. Ang EIS is like this. It's an invoice where you can send it electronically. Okay, it's invoicing system. So this one, agree ako dito. Example, domestic corporation, meron siyang sale sa Canada. Paano makukuha yung invoice ni Canada? Di electronic invoice. Ipadala niya electronically. Kaya pabor ako dyan sa mga exporter, cover sila ng EIS. E-commerce. Ikaw ay merchant or seller ka sa marketplace. Like, banggitin na natin, Shopee. Okay, you are in Metro Manila and I am from Pampanga. Bumili ako sa iyo. Paano mo i-issue sa akin yung invoice? Pwedeng electronic invoicing. Itong large taxpayer na 'to, alam niyo hindi ko masyadong maintindihan 'to, eh. In a sense that, I'm talking about the concept. Imagine this, Jollibee, okay, large taxpayer 'yan. Kapag bibili ka ba ng burger sa Jollibee, kailangan pa ba nilang electronic i-send 'yan electronically, through e-invoicing? Hindi na. Ibigay mo na kaagad yung invoice, kaya nga dapat dito sa large taxpayer na 'to pinag-isipan kung sino ba ang puwedeng mag-send ng invoice electronically, kaya nga i-invoicing, eh. Kaya kinu-question ko si Mayor dito, ba't lahat ng large taxpayer kinover niyo? Yung iba, over the counter lang naman ang transaction niyan. Pero ito, I get it. I get this also. So anyway, anong meron dito? In-expand yung mga covered ng AIS. Iba pa yung POS dito, ha? Iba to, electronic invoicing to, new system to. Okay? Wherein the sales upon issuance under the system, didiretso mare-report yan sa BIR directly in their system. Yan ang EIS at saka e-sales reporting. So, in-expand, kasama yung mga gumagamit ng CAS, computerized books of accounts, at saka other invoicing software. Yung mga registered RBEs, sino nga ito? REE, DME, at saka High Value Domestic Market Enterprise, covered sila. Yung mga gumagamit ng POS, my God, at saka yung mga other taxpayers may be required by the commissioner, o yung mga merong asterisk, mandatory lang kapag meron ng system, transmission system si BIR. Kasi nga, halimbawa, ito yung POS mo. Okay, ayun ang cashier, ayun ang POS, no? Pinunch niya yan. Nandito sa system na ni BIR yan. Diyan papasok kaagad, e-sales report yung mga sales. Okay, so unless na meron ng capable transmission system si BIR, doon pa lang magiging required mandatory ito sa mga merong asterisk. Okay? Magandang balita, kahit papaano, micro taxpayers are exempt, which means if your gross sales do not exceed 3 million, do not exceed 3 million. So, ibig sabihin hanggang maximum 2,999,999. Okay? Hindi ka covered. Pero pag naging 3 million na yan, covered ka na. Bakit? Ano ka na? Small ka na. Okay? What are the other requirements, no, for a VAT registered taxpayer? May kailangan tayong accounting requirement to keep our books of accounts. Subsidiary sales journal, subsidiary purchases journal, okay, record, subsidiary record, acquisition, purchase of depreciable assets. Okay, senior citizens book kung meron tayong transactions with senior, PWD, athletes, coaches and trainers, solo parents book. Okay, bookkeeping does not apply to VAT registered non-resident digital service provider. Hindi natin sila nire-require. Bakit? Basta yung VAT lang yung requirement natin sa kanila. I-remit lang sa atin, okay na on the digital service. Now, let's go to filing of VAT returns. Okay? Ang filing natin quarterly, 2550Q. Kaya nga merong Q, quarterly yan. When is the deadline? 25th day after the close of the this is not a month, it should be close of the quarter. Example, first quarter tayo, January, February, March. Ano yung kasunod na buwan? April, 25th day. Ganyan yan. Okay, sundan na natin. April, May, June. Kailan ang susunod na buwan? July, 25. Ganyan lang yan. Tapos yung sa mga non-resident digital service provider, DS, digital service yan. Same ang period. Quarter dapat yan, sorry. Okay, yung monthly naman, tignan mo, declaration ang tawag. Ito, return. Iba ang return sa declaration. Okay, 2550M. Ngayon, optional na lang yan and there's no deadline. Before, it's 20th day every month. Now, aside from filing the VAT returns, we're supposed to submit online. E-submission. Iba pa ang EIS, yung kanina. Iba ang electronic invoicing system at saka e-sales reporting. Iba yon. Iba ito. Okay? Kapag tayo ay nakabenta, we attach summary list of sales, summary list of purchases, summary list of importation, at saka yung summary list of local sales. SL, summary list of local sales of RBE. Panibagong requirement yan. Consolidated ang filing ng head office at saka branches. If there is an error in our original return, the remedy is to file an amended return. Hindi na kasi pwedeng anuhin yan. Oh, by the way, nagsimula lang ang quarterly filing January 1, 2023. Okay. Ang mga EF filers, meron silang group according to industry. Merong A, B, C, D, E. Kapag ang deadline falls on weekends or holidays, the return can be filed in the next working day. Okay. Same rule applies in income taxation. Kapag merong downtime or unavailable ang EFPS, well, before you can use the EBIR forms, you have to have your basis should be the BIR advisory. Okay? So, where do we file the return? Aba, ease of paying tax daw, we can file any bank, any RDO, any authorized software provider, anywhere. Exception, of course, we can only file if the commissioner otherwise prescribed that that is the venue. Old rule, kung saan lang yung head office. Okay, I'm registered in RDO 28 Novaliches. So which means as a professional, I can file anywhere. Can I do it in Makati? Yes. Can I do it in Cebu? In Davao? In Palawan? Yes. I can do it anywhere. Can I pay through any bank? Yes, so long as they are authorized. Okay. Can I use tax software provider? Yes. Yung kaibigan ko, si One Tax, pwede ba yan dyan? Yes. Okay, dati, kung saan ka lang naka-register, doon sa RDO lang at saka yung bangkong authorized lang niya. Filing can be electronic. Ang electronic, dalawa, EFPS or EBIR forms. And of course, yung manual pre-printed. No? At saka yung offline na printing, ipiprint mo yan, may babayaran, print mo, dalhin sa bangko. That's manual also. So basically, these are the things that you need to know no, about VAT. Okay, so ang kailangan lang talaga natin dito, deep understanding. Kaya nga as much as we can, we try to explain to you uh, yung concepts, the rules, and how do we properly apply them. Important thing, especially when it comes to computation, lagi tayo magpa-practice. Okay, so ayun lang. Bye-bye.